Hurricane Ida may not have affected the upstate, but two Greer firefighters had a tremendous impact on those in Louisiana affected by the storm. That and much more coming up on Inside Greer. Hello everyone and welcome back to Inside Greer, our second edition. I'm Steve Owens alongside Taylor Crouch, and let's start things off with a story about two Greer firefighters who run toward danger instead of away from it.
Two Greer firefighters were among 17 members of South Carolina Task Force 1 who answered the call in assisting flood victims of southern Louisiana following Hurricane Ida.
Ida is packing winds of 105 miles per hour sustained. Gusts are higher than that, and it's moving to the northwesterly direction at 16 miles per hour. There are, of course, numerous warnings out there all across the parishes of Louisiana and counties of Mississippi. And as we look forward towards that eventual landfall coming on in, it may be doing so as that Category 4 status of winds in excess of 130 plus miles per hour.
The Category 4 storm was described as devastating as it made landfall at Grand Isle on the 16th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. In areas southwest of New Orleans, damage from Ida's winds and flooding from torrential rains was actually considered worse than that historic hurricane. Enter South Carolina Task Force 1. The emergency response unit is comprised of volunteer first responders from across the state trained in urban search and rescue. The team includes the Greer Fire Department's Joe Borelli, Scott Tompkins, and Tyler Collins, and Borelli and Tompkins were deployed to Louisiana on August 30th, the day after the storm.
My wife and my daughter, they always ask for me to send pictures, and I can send you a snapshot of what, an individual house or a trailer that's been torn apart and thrown into the woods looks like, but you don't really get a full feel of it until you're down there and you're driving for hours and hours and hours and seeing nothing but destruction for hours and hours. We only had one day to where we were sleeping in the back of our trucks and just kind of sleeping where we can. Some guys slept in the boats, and some people just slept outside, and some of us slept in the cars, and we ate MREs.
Task Force 1 served some of the worst hit areas in southern Louisiana. The team made its first base in Addis, where it worked with FEMA, then moved to Thibodaux, and finally to Ground Zero on the Grand Isle.
The only thing that was that I was really shocked about was that you might have a row of houses that are on stilts, like barrier island type houses, and what made no sense to me is like you might have a row of 4 houses, and one of the houses in those 4 it'd be a little damaged but livable, and the other 3 would be just totally demolished, where you might even just see just the stilts that they're built it on.
The Greer firefighters all volunteer for Task Force 1 with the permission of the department's administration. Those men and the people they help would certainly call it time well spent and an extension of their daily duties.
I just feel like I'm really called to be there for people on their worst time, and help them through it and try to make a difference.
Century Park was one of the safest places in the upstate recently when the Greer Police Department hosted its 10th annual softball tournament to benefit the Upstate Law Enforcement Memorial.
For the land of the free and the home of the brave. Let's play ball!
The tournament drew teams from police and sheriff's departments from across the upstate. Greer PD Lieutenant Kara Blackwell helped start the tournament, which is a major fundraiser for the fund that supports the families of law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty. The first tournament was played in 2011 after the death of Lawrence County Deputy Roger Rice Jr. Rice's family was on hand, and his son played with the Lawrence County team. This year, the fund helped purchase body armor for Kat Jumper, the daughter of Greenville County Master Deputy Conley Jumper, who died last October following a multi-vehicle accident.
What we're doing today is when this tournament was getting put together, I knew that Kat was working towards working for Homeland Security. I know she comes out to the sheriff's office quite a bit and does some training at the firearms range. One of the problems that she expressed, she doesn't have body armor, so I reached out to Point Blank, and Point Blank was kind enough to donate body armor to Kat Jumper, so that way she has something to wear when she's training with HSI. There you go. Congratulations. Thank you for being here.
As the teams prepared to play ball, Greer Police Chaplain Keith Kelly put the day in perspective.
We pray, in addition to the Rice family and the Jumper family and all of the other families, we pray for somewhere, somehow, somebody today in America will come very, very close to having to die as they serve and protect. And some may even have to do just exactly that. But we realize and recognize that what they do, I believe, according to your word, is as much of a calling from God as what I do. So would you bless them and keep them in their calling?
The Edward R. Drigger City of Greer Center for the Arts hosted an artist reception for the late Tom Gardner. Gardner was a prolific painter in the great non-representational mid-century tradition of Jackson Pollock and Mark Rothko. His work has also been shown in galleries from New York to Los Angeles and now Greer. Gardner's widow said she felt it was important to continue to showcase her late husband's work.
So for about the last 10 years of his life, he ended up exhibiting his art in about 20 galleries around the country. And I'm really glad that he got to realize, what he really loved to do was to paint. And I just thought that after his passing, I didn't want this just to sit in a corner. I wanted to be able to bring it back to Greenville in a way, even though Tom couldn't physically be here. But I believe that art lives on. And so I thought, I wanted to share this with other people. And tonight, maybe even some people will come that remembered my husband from all those many years ago. Tom loved mid-century modern art. Even though he did paint realistically, he really was drawn to this abstract, which I'm very proud of because, many people are drawn more towards realistic art, but I always just feel like abstract it's so original. It comes from the mind of the artist, and it's never really been done, and it most likely would not be produced again. It's a truly original piece of art that starts in the artist's mind and then gets moved to the canvas.
The Art of Tom Gardner will remain on exhibit through October 30th at the Center for the Arts.
It's all aboard at Greer City Park on September 25th. That's when the city hosts its annual Rail Fest, a celebration of the city's rich railroad history. Children enjoy train-themed entertainment and displays, and professionals and enthusiasts alike will be on hand to discuss everything from the area's rail history to rail safety for drivers and pedestrians. Railfest runs from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. and admission is free. Visit cityofgreer.org for more information. If golf is more your thing, why not call a few friends and head to the Links of Tryon on October 8th? You'll have a great time on the course and help the Greer Police Department fund its annual Cops for Tots program that makes Christmas gifts available to underprivileged children. You get to play golf and be considered a great humanitarian. Head over to the Greer Police Department Facebook page or visit cityofgreer.org for complete information.
Oktoberfest returns to Greer Station from noon until 9 p.m. on Saturday with food and drink, music, dancing, and a 5K run and walk, and a 50K bike race. You can find complete information at GreerOktoberfest.com.
If you need a break from the oompahing, head over to the Edward R. Drigger City of Greer Center for the Arts between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. for an arts fair. Check out work by local artists and craftsmen and enjoy live entertainment. Food vendors will also be on site.
The Greater Greer Chamber of Commerce is hosting the inaugural Greer Arts and Eats Festival presented by Pelham Medical Center October 1st and 2nd in Greer Station and Greer City Park. This family-oriented event will feature crafts from local artisans, interactive children's activities, and of course food and drink and live music. Visit the website for complete information.
Well, the most asked question in Greer that doesn't involve the words COVID or vaccine is, when will the parking garage be open? City Administrator Andy Merriman told City Council this week that the garage will now open on September 24th to support the Greer Arts and Eats Festival. A limited number of spaces being leased by the new Hampton Inn have been in use since the hotel opened earlier this month.
As promised, Greer City Park was filled with knights, damsels, and even a dragon last weekend. We're going to leave you with some highlights from the Greer Renaissance Festival.